Now, where were we? Oh, right. Caesar's dead. Citizens are in total disarray. Brutus has more than he bargained for. Because without the right leader, the state goes into chaos. And in that chaos, it will rain. We begin at the Forum.
Be patient till the last. Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause, and be silent, that you may hear. Believe me for mine honor, and have respect to my honor, that you may believe. Censure me in your wisdom, and wake your senses, that you may the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar be living and die all slaves, than Caesar were dead, live all free men? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. There are tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who is here so base that would be a bondman? If any speak of him, have I offended? Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak for him, I have offended. Who is here so vile that would not love his country? If any speak for him, have I offended? I pause for a reply.
None, Brutus, none.
Then none have I offended. Here comes his body, mourned by Mark Antony, who, though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying, place in the commonwealth, as which of you shall not. With this I depart, that, as I slew my best friend for the good of Rome, I have the same knife for myself, when it shall please my country to need my death.
Live, Brutus! Live! Live!
My countrymen!
Be silent, Brutus, speak.
Peace ho!
Good countrymen, let me depart alone. For my sake, stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse, and grace his speech tending to Caesar's glory, which Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. I do entreat you, not a man depart, say I alone, till Antony have spoke.
For Brutus' sake, I am beholding to you, you gentle Romans.
Peace ho! Let us hear him.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious, when that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept? Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. Speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, but I must pause till it come back to me.
Methinks there is much reason in its saying.
Oh, poor soul. His eyes are red as fire with weeping.
But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. Oh, masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who, you all know, are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet. 'Tis his will.
We'll either will. Read it, Mark Antony.
I fear I wrong the honorable men whose knives have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it.
They were traitors, honorable men.
You will compel me then to read the will? Shall I descend, and will you give me leave? Then let me show you him that made the will. If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. 'Twas on that day he overcame the nervy. Look, in this place ran Cassius's dagger through. See what a rent the envious Casca made? Through this the well-beloved Brutus stabbed. And as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as rushing out the doors to be resolved if Brutus so unkindly knocked or no. For Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all. Oh, now you weep, and I perceive you feel the dint of pity. These are the gracious drops. Kind souls, what weep you when you but behold our Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here, here is himself marred, as you see, with traitors.
Oh, most bloody sight.
We will be revenged!
Good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done this deed are honorable. I come not, friends, to steal away your hearts. I am no orator as Brutus is, but were I Brutus, and Brutus Antony, there were an Antony would roof up your spirits and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should move the stones of Rome to rise and mutiny.
We'll mutiny.
Never, never. Come, away, away. We'll burn its body in the holy place, and with the brands fire the traitors' houses.
Now let it work. Mischief thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou wilt.
On a street nearby, the citizens are bloodlust for reaction. Anyone could do, even if they share the same name as a conspirator.
I dreamt tonight that I did feast with Caesar, and things unlucky charge my fantasy. I have no will to wander forth of doors, yet something leads me forth.
What is your name?
Whither are you going?
Where do you dwell?
Answer every man directly.
What is my name? Whither am I going? Where do I dwell? Directly, I am going to Caesar's funeral.
As a friend or an enemy?
As a friend.
For your dwelling, briefly.
Briefly, I dwell by the Capitol.
Your name, sir. Truly.
Truly, my name is Cinna.
Yeah. Tear him to pieces! He's a conspirator!
I am Cinna the poet! I am Cinna the poet! I am not Cinna the conspirator!
Oh, it is no matter. His name's Cinna. Pluck but his name out of his heart and turn him going. Tear him! Tear him!
Come! Brands! Ho! Firebrands! To Brutus! To Cassius! Burn all! Some to Decius' house! And some to Casca! Away! Go!
Ah!